What's up? How's it going? Johnny Busket. I'm here to bring you guys season 21 of the DCDB Cube. Okay, my initial impression, I'll tell you this. As I was reading through the article, I just kept saying, what? Oh my God. Oh my God. What? Oh my God. My wife was like, what's going on with you over there? I'm like, I'm just reading through the update. And not necessarily because good or bad, but just I was surprised at some of the changes. Of course, there's a couple things we saw coming, but I'm just interested to see how this season will play out. I'm going to see a lot of creativity this season with some of the changes, with some of the ups, with some of the downs. I'm sure you guys are going to come up with some cool teams. And I need more spotlights, so let me see them. It's going to be simple, quick, to the point. As always, there's links in the description. If you're new to the Cube, if you're new to using TTS to play DC Deck Builder, there's some how-tos down there, how to get the mod, how to access the database, and how to set up Cube. All that good stuff is right there in the description, but let's jump right into it. So there are some new updates to rules. I'm going to start with those. So the first one being the opening lineup. So there can no longer be more than one 5 cost or greater or ongoing card in the lineup. Okay, so that's two separate rules. There can't be more than one 5 cost or higher, and there also can't be more than one ongoing. So even if there's two 4 cost ongoings, one of them need to be removed. Right? If you have House of Mystery and Blackgate in the lineup, those cannot both be in the initial lineup. On top of that, only one 5 cost or greater can be in that lineup as well. That means, as we're revealing the initial lineup, any cards that break that rule as we are revealing the lineup have to be removed from game. Not reshuffled, not added back in at the bottom. Those cards will be removed from that game you're playing. So there could be a scenario where MC Hat just so happens to come out right after Heat Vision in the initial lineup. MC Hat would be removed from the game. There's no MC Hat in that game you're playing. Okay? That's even been scripted to the TTS table. So as you start a new game, it will reveal a lineup with only one 5 cost or greater and or only one ongoing. Just to show you guys how this new rule is scripted into the game, as you can see, Red Robin and Super Strength should come out in the initial lineup right when I start the game. But when I go into options, I turn on turns and start the game. Only Red Robin is there. Super Strength has automatically been removed. This change comes to help alleviate stagnant lineups. We know there's the games where none of us can generate power, so nobody's getting the great cards in the lineup, and someone finally gets it, and they snowball. So this is kind of in the same vein of what they did with the quantity change, where this is going to be a focus on making sure teams can get started, making sure that buying one specific card doesn't cause someone else to just roll over the whole table. It's kind of in that same vein. So with that being said, this is going to once again strengthen those teams that look for cards that are a little cheaper. So if you might want to keep that in mind as your team building for this season. Now the next rule update is supervillain ownership. If a boss ceases to be owned by any player, then it is removed from the game. That can work in a few different ways. So let's say, the most obvious case. Power Ring would just show up on the supervillain stack. It would then destroy your boss, and it goes to destroy pile. Someone buys Power Ring, and then they end up pulling it from the destroy pile, right? That is no longer a thing. If Power Ring destroys your boss, it will be removed from the game. Same thing with Shazam in mind. If Shazam tries to send your boss to the bottom of the deck and you can't defend yourself, instead of being sent to the bottom, it will be removed. The effects that are caused by that card being destroyed or whatever the case may be still happen. So if you have a card and for some reason you want to destroy your boss, you destroy it. You still get all the destroy effects, whether you have MCs that benefit from it or you would gain VP from it. You still get those effects, but it interrupts their travel to whatever destination it is, and it ends up removed from the game. It doesn't actually make it to the destroy pile, or it doesn't actually make it to the bottom of the main deck. Our next update is the special weakness stack cases. So according to the new rule update, Felix Faust and Mr. Terrific are getting special rulings. When the weakness stack runs out, Felix Faust, as well as Mr. Terrific, can now start to pull weaknesses from the reserve pile of weaknesses. That's going to give them a major boost, especially with D tier change for one of those cards that I'm going to get into later. That is going to make them a bit stronger, so we might see a little more play from those cards. If the reserve stack is empty, then their abilities can't be used. You're done just like you used to be, so that's it. The next update comes from attacking and defending. The steps to resolving an attack, along with defending an attack, have been reduced. Due to some changes that have been made in the cube over time, they have now been able to reduce those steps. So now the steps for resolving an attack or defending an attack starts with A. Starting with the next player or the player who bought the boss, if it's a boss attack, player has option to use any number of when you are attacked abilities. Cards like cat-like reflexes. That would be triggered as soon as someone attacks. So that would be the first thing you would be resolving. Any cards that have that type of effect when you are attacked. You resolve all those triggers before moving on to the next step. Next step being B. That player announces whether they are defending or blocking and resolves any effects stated by the defense or block card. That card, the defense card, is now resolved. If you don't defend, then of course you move on. The player resolves any triggers caused by defending or blocking that attack if they did defend or block that attack. And they can do those in the order of their choice. So this is where the update really comes in, and I'll explain in a minute. But the next step is repeat for each affected player in turn order. Going back to that step C, what's new about that is cards like Sons of Trigon or even the Mean Mongol supervillain, the one that the Impossible Mode version that really hits you. MCs like Donna Troy can now target those weaknesses that you're getting because of this step C. Step C says that any triggers caused by defending or blocking are resolved in the order of that player's choice. So you can resolve the Sons of Trigon penalty first. So you gain a weakness for defending. And now you can use your Donna Troy, if you're using Donna Troy, to destroy that weakness. I'm not 100% sure if there's any other cards that will matter for, like Donna Troy, but I guess we will see as we play and we find different things. But yes, that's where the update comes into play. Same thing with Mongol. Mongol attacks you, you defend, you're still forced to take those two weaknesses. Now, if you have Donna Troy, because you defended, you can now destroy one of those weaknesses with Donna Troy. So that's completely new. That will do it for all the new updates as far as rules go. There was one last note in that section, and that's 2v2 updates are coming at the start of next season. I know a lot of us were excited for the new MC changes for 2v2, or maybe even a separate main deck for 2v2, but those are coming later. Be on the lookout for that. Alright, now let's jump into the MC changes. Let's start here. As you can see right off the bat, there's only 5 stacks. Not because there's only 5 tiers, but because there's nobody in 6 tier anymore. And we'll get to that. Starting with tier 1, which is actually going to lead us to the one and only addition to the cube this season. Poison Ivy, she is back into the cube. Her text reads the first time you play an ongoing card or non-kick superpower during each of your turns. Reveal the top card of your deck, leave it, discard it, or pass it into another player's discard pile. Of course, there's no passing cards in cube, so you would just ignore that last part. So basically, she is Star Sapphire. Or better yet, more like Silk Spectre, because she doesn't have the extra ability. So leave it, discard it. It is your choice. We also had one card get moved into 1s from 2s, and that is Rebirth Aquaman, affectionately known as Handsome Squidward Aquaman. I hate looking at this card, but it is a 1 now. It wasn't really effective at 2, so I believe it's going to be way better at 1. It's going to be doing some things depending on the team you're playing with, so he might be worth a try. I never really like the cards that target stuff that's 4 or less, especially when there's a higher cost, but he's just playing a superpower and then you get to stack something. So stack something on the bottom. So yeah, that will do it for our 1s. Let's move on to 2s. In 2s, we actually have some increases and some decreases. So as far as our one and only increase, Red Tornado is no longer a 1. Red Tornado is a 2 now. Both Red Tornadoes can be found in tier 2. It's going to be sad for those of you that like using the Vixen team, or even Tom, your team is gone, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're going to figure out something new and fun to play with, but that is no longer a 1. As far as our decreases, we're going to start off with Beast Boy. Beast Boy is back from his tier 3 tier ban and is a 2 now. I'm sure he's got something. He's got something in there. I think he's going to be pretty good, functional at least. So there's going to be some cool teams with him. The next card is Black Adam. Wow. Black Adam is a 2. I tried him in a couple test games, and of course Black Adam is just fun. You get a destroy card, still get a VP. You still get the resolutions from the card, and you get to draw. It's just fun. So him paired with even Gride, something simple like that. It's just a fun game. Next one being Brainiac 5. I actually had a team with him at 3. I have thought of nothing with him at 2. He's another fun card. Just fetching stuff from your discard is always kind of fun. Killer Frost. Killer Frost is now a 2 officially as well. She's got some cool stuff. Maybe pairing her with tier 3 Deathstroke for that extra draw. That could be fun. And finally, we have Mirror Master. Mirror Master's down from a 3. He's back at a 2. I know maybe a season or a couple seasons ago, right after the final tournament of that season, we were testing, and Mirror Master was a 2 in the test, but never actually got there. That's going to be fun. And that is it for our tier 2 changes. Let's move on to tier 3. So in tier 3, we only have a few decreases, starting with Dark Knight's Metal Aquaman. If you were playing the season that he was introduced into the cube, he was really strong. I don't know how it's gonna fare now. I'm sure he's gonna be good still. It's just a lot being able to top whatever you want and get an extra power. So you could set up his trigger for the following turn by whatever you buy on this turn, and just keep it going and snowballing. So he's gonna be able to do some cool stuff at 3 again. The next card being Felix Faust. So Mr. Terrific didn't get moved down. I can understand why. You get to draw 2 cards, and now with the reserve stack being what it is, I can understand. Felix Faust, he only gives you 2 power. It's a little different. It doesn't go to your hand either. So yeah, he is now a tier 3 card, and I'm sure he was already getting used at 4 from playing in the Discord and playing with different people. I think I even seen him in the tournament. So yeah, he'll get used. Now we have Weather Wizard. He was actually a 3 for a little while, maybe a couple seasons ago. But he's now back at 3. We should see some play from him as well. I know people like to run the Weather Wizard Power Girl for a little while, so that may be a thing again. And that will do it for our tier 3 changes. Right on to tier 4. So in tier 4, we only have increases. You can see one of them right there on the stack, Wonder Woman 15. She is a 4 now. She was on the best rated team as far as the website is concerned. As far as tracking games, she was on the best rated team last season. So we see her move up. She can get out of hand. She can be ridiculous, so I definitely understand. Cheetah's no longer a 3. Cheetah was just always really good at 3. Like, she can draw your extra card, or she can destroy a card for you. So you can whittle down your deck, and now all of a sudden you are a 6-hand team, like every turn. So yeah, she's good. She's just, actually I think she'll still be viable at 4. With Felix Faust moving down to a 2, that is going to count as one of your gains. So you automatically, get Cheetah. I also saw Felix paired with another team as well, but yes, that is going to be a thing. That is it for our tier 4 changes. On to tier 5. And of course, tier 6 is sad over here by itself. But tier 5, we got the one change, and that is Darkseid going down from 6 to 5. So you can pair 1 with Darkseid again. Enjoy it. Madman. Now for our MCs that were banned. We actually lost King Shark, Plastic Man, and Roy Harper. I think the biggest surprise for me here was Plastic Man. That was one of those moments where I said, oh, it's gone. And of course that's because Black Adam is now a 2. Those can never ever exist together, and we saw Plastic Man at 5, and yeah, nah. So I guess the reasoning was, let's just remove it, and maybe it comes back later once things are moved around a bit more. But as of now, Plastic Man is gone. That'll take us over to our main deck changes. The main deck is now sitting at 396 cards. The additions are right here in the stack on the left. We'll go through each. We have Artemis coming in from Confrontations. It is a attack card that targets blocks, so forcing you to block the attack basically. We have another attack card being added in Phobia. It's basically Bane, where you just discard a card and none of the other text matters on this card because it actually does nothing in cube. So when you get attacked by Phobia, just discard a card. We have another block being added in Commissioner Gordon. It doesn't do anything as far as blocking is concerned other than helping you avoid the attack. There's no special benefit from blocking, and that's okay. Sometimes you just want to stop Power Rain from destroying your best card. Next we have Batwoman, which is really cool. I mean, everyone likes Raven, and everyone liked Batwoman when she was in the cube, but they were never in at the same time. They are now. It's just one copy of this card, I believe. I don't think there's 2, but it's nice to have another 1 power draw card being added at 3 costs. And that's it for the additions. I think we have a lot to talk about here in the banned cards from the main deck this season, all of the Heroes United locations are gone. So all of the reveal and you can draw the card if it's the specific type, those locations are gone. I think the only reveal top location left actually is Blackgate Prison, because Tamaran got removed as well. So any cards that let you check the top, other than that Blackgate, I believe are all gone. We had some attacks get removed as well. Black Lantern Green Arrow's gone. No more destroying the top of people's decks. Unless you find some other really creative way to do that, it won't be done with this card. Dr. Light is gone as well. We have Kryptonite and Scarecrow being removed. I mean, I always felt like getting bogged down with weaknesses was a really easy way just to lose the game. So if one person got the Scarecrow turn 2, Rapskis. Not so much with Kryptonite, because once you have a lot of weaknesses, you usually don't get any more from Kryptonite. But both of those are gone, so that's going to definitely change the way these games go, I feel like. We also have a few destruction cards being taken away from the cube in Mr. Terrific. It was a nice 2 VP 5 cost that destroyed the top of your deck. King Shark, one of the blocks that were added last season, is now gone. And finally, Heat Vision, the cheaper Heat Vision, the 5 cost, is gone as well. That is it for our main deck changes. Now finally, we have our super villain changes. There's your bosses, and the only changes we had were removals, starting with Forever Evil Aquaman. He is now gone. He's no longer a part of the boss stacks. I never really liked him anyway. It feels like sometimes people would get off easy with his first appearance attack, either having to put one punch on their deck or one weakness or one bone, or even just taking the weakness because you have no starters in your discard pile or no 0 cost in your discard pile. So I'm glad to see him go, because even when you bought him, his effect really wasn't that great either. So I'm glad he's gone. The weaker Mongol also has been removed. The more devastating Impossible Mode Mongol is still there in the 12 stack. And finally, we have Trigon. Trigon was great. I love getting Trigon, and also he was a really punishing attack sometimes, having you to destroy that one card you have left in your hand or one of the 2 cards you have left in your hand after back-to-back attacks. So yeah, sorry to see him go. We still have Shazam in there though, so you can still gain free cards from the main deck. And that is actually all of the changes for Season 21. I told you it'd be short and sweet. There are some significant changes here, things that are going to change the way this game is played. I think it's going to be fun to see how people acquiesce. That's always my favorite thing to see, is when we're a month into the season or after the first tournament, exactly what people find out and the things they like to, for lack of a better word, exploit. But thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.